Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new Sinister Cup video. In this video we are taking on Tampa trainer Ferg. Ferg is an excellent competitor and I cannot wait to get into these Sinister fights. For round 1, I will open with Empoleon. He opens with Probopass. We haven't seen a lot of Probopass in the Sinister Cup videos that other content creators have made, but I think it's a very interesting choice. The Thunderbolt does give it coverage for water types like Empoleon and Poliwrath. I'm going to use a few more waterfalls and then bail out in favor of the Medicham to try to counter down the Probopass. He has some additional energy, so he does spend it on that Thunderbolt. I have a power-up punch ready, and in comes the Drift Blim. This is not great for me because I am switch-locked. I go for the cheeky Psychic, and we actually land it, so we do a huge amount of damage to that Drift Blim. I'm not going to shield Medicham here because this is just a losing matchup for me either way. I do have Empoleon and Gardevoir in the back. I decide to go in with Gardevoir to try to charm down this Drift Blim. I am going to shield this Ominous Wind to protect Gardevoir. In comes Steelix, and now that he's switch-locked, this is the perfect time for me to bring back my Empoleon. Empoleon does have energy from before, so I will fire off that Hydro Pump there. It is very slow to get to the charge moves, but when they do land, they do an immense amount of damage. That Earthquake, though, with the shields down is deadly, and it does bring down our Empoleon. His Steelix has more energy now as well, so the crunch will come our way. One more crunch will do us in, and Ferg still has a shield, so this is pretty much GG's. Synchronoise will take that last shield, but Gardevoir is in a bad spot here. This final charge move will win Ferg round 1. Taking a look at round 2, I open with Mawile. He opens with Medicham. So I am going to bail out of Mawile in favor of my own Medicham. He does have 1 or 2 counters worth of the energy advantage, so he is going to get to his charge move first. He makes the aggressive play and goes for the Psychic, so I do call that correctly and shield it. I'm going to go for the Power Punch here, and expecting the Psychic, he does shield. In comes the Drift Blim. I'm going to go for a boosted Psychic here against it, and we land it. That was a good kind of indicator of how much damage it does, because the first Psychic we saw in round 1 did about half, and that did a little more than half. I do fire up the power-up punch and then attempt to switch, but we don't quite get it through. So we are going to shield the Ominous Wind, and then in comes another attack from Drift Blim, but I switch into the Mawile to absorb it. Mawile is going to bite down the Drift Blim, and now we are waiting to see what Ferg brings out. It is the Medicham as we expected. I'm trying to get to a power-up punch, but he gets to his own power-up punch first. We do get to ours eventually though, and we are going to try to stack as many bites on top of this Medicham as we possibly can, but one more counter will finish us off. I do have my Medicham again with some energy from before. I do fire off the power-up punch here. He does decide to shield it, so we did earn that shield from Ferg, and now the shields are down. However, I do have Empoleon in the back, so this is not great for me. I'm able to actually waterfall down that Medicham, and in comes Steelix. The race is Earthquake versus Hydro Pump. If he gets to the Earthquake first, he will win it, and he gets to the Crunch. It's not quite enough, so we're actually able to get to the Hydro Pump, and we win round 2. Jumping right into round 3, I decide to lead with Haunter, and we wall that Medicham super hard. We get off 3 Shadow Claws, and then he switches into Drift Blim. I contemplate a swap of my own, but I'm actually going to stay in here and fire off the Shadow Punch, and then bail out in favor of Mawile. This way, the Drift Blim is not going to get much energy from us. However, it might have been a mistake because now my Mawile is pinned against his Medicham. So if he decides to bring it back out, he's going to be able to counter it down, and he does. Again, we're going to try to get as much chip damage as possible. We're not going to expend shields on Mawile here. It's a bit of a sacrificial swap, but it is doing its job in hurting this Medicham and bring its health much lower. We bring in the Haunter again. He's going to fire up a charge move, and expecting something... Actually, I was expecting the power-up punch, so the Psychic is going to one-shot us. But I have a Medicham with 2 shields, and I would take Medicham with 2 shields over almost anything else in the meta except Alola Marowak, so this is actually a very tricky position for us. I'm going to power-up punch there, and then go for another power-up punch, trying to draw the shield. We do get the first shield, which is great for us, but that Marowak has a ton of energy. I'm going to shield this, and it is Bone Club. I was worried about a Shadow Ball there, but... in comes another charge move, and we have to shield this regardless. It is Bone Club again, so he has earned both of our shields. I overcharge and then go for the Psychic here, hoping he would think it was a bait, but he didn't. He knew it was going to be a Psychic, so he did shield. This final charge move will win Ferg round 3. Taking a look at round 4, I decide to open with Haunter again, and we catch that Medicham yet again. He is going to swap out into Drifblim, and we're going to play this out in a similar fashion that we did the first round. Not sure if this is the right way or the wrong way. He actually is going to shield the Shadow Punch, so I do decide to bring in Empoleon. I do have overlapping coverage for the walls in this line because I have Empoleon and Medicham. So we're going to use our waterfalls here and then absorb this ominous wind. Empoleon is pretty stout, it can take some punishment. We bring that Drifblim pretty low. I'm going to bring in my Haunter here. It's extremely squishy, as you know, so we are going to shield the ominous wind and Shadow Claw down the Drifblim. In comes Alola Marowak, and we are going to use the Shadow Punch against it. This is a Fire Spin variant, so it's not that bad for us. The Hex variant obviously would be worse. I recognize here that Haunter is my best chance to get this Marowak low, so I'm going to go straight for the Dark Pulse here to try to KO it, and we do. In comes Medicham again, and I'm going to swap into my Medicham. I'm going straight for that Psychic, but he does have the energy lead. He lands his Psychic first. I'm going to do a couple more counters and then go for a Psychic of my own. We're bringing that Medicham very low, and right here I want him to expend his energy in the form of a Psychic, but he does not. He does a Power-Up Punch instead, so we're going to be able to use our own Power-Up Punch to beat him down. In the final round, I opened with Medicham. He opens with Poliwrath. So this is a bubble Poliwrath, although its charge moves are still a mystery to me because this is the first time I've seen it. He is going to use an Ice Punch on Medicham, which is the right move. I'm actually going to go here for the Power Punch. I charge up to a Psychic, and I'm trying to catch him off guard, and we do. Now I'm either going to take his second shield or the Poliwrath, so it's up to him. And he is actually going to double shield his Poliwrath. So he really wants my Medicham out of the way, and I'm going to actually shield that Ice Punch because I want my Medicham to take down his Poliwrath. And when switch advantage, I'm going to go all in on Medicham here with the double shield. In comes Probopass, and now I see why he wanted my Medicham out of the way. I do Power Up Punch this Probopass and then use a few more counters. It is going to get enough energy to use the Rock Slide against us, but that's no big deal. I do have Haunter in the back. I get 3 or 4 Shadow Claws in there, so I have some energy banked. Shields are down too, so Haunter is going to be deadly, especially with the energy lead. In comes the Drifblim here. I probably could have gone for the Dark Pulse, but I opted for the Shadow Punch instead. He does get to a charge move, and this is going to finish off the Haunter, but I do have the Bastiodon in the back. The only problem is that I might have to use Bastiodon to face off against Poliwrath here. So it is Poliwrath versus Bastiodon, but that Poliwrath is extremely weak. I'm able to get to a Stone Edge, and somehow Bastiodon wins this match. Thank you so much for the battles, Ferg. I'm looking forward to more. Keep it locked here for more Sinister Cup fights.